tell you to be different and creative and think this way. A much-used business cliche. Kayla.
What is outside the box?
You got it.
We're flying high with the wings and talking all things lacrosse. You're now listening to the Outside the Box podcast right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia.
Welcome into another episode of Outside the Box College Show. It's the fourth one already, man. This stuff is flying by. Seems like just yesterday when we were doing our pilot episode, Neff, and getting this whole thing going. It's Uncle Deej, nephew across from me, Hoots. We're getting this whole thing going. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast at the Underground Industries on Twitter. No. Sorry. Everywhere but Twitter. At the Underground Industries on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the good places there. Then on Twitter, it is at the U Industries. I've been talking all day. I'm sorry, y'all. At the U Industries on Twitter. Don't forget to follow my nephew across from me at Hoot Sport Media on all Hoot Sport Media. Hoot Sport Media. Not S, not Hoots, because then there's too many S's.
Anyway, it sounds,
yeah, but then there's too many S's. If
you type in H-O-O-T, I'm like the first one that pops up.
Of course, because who else is named Hoot out there? Yeah. Like it's your family. Like that's it. Yeah. That's actually such a flex.
Actually, there is. I did when I was like in middle school. I looked up how many of like people in the world had my name. It was actually a surprising amount. And I was like, I thought I was the only one, but.
That's how I felt when I looked up my name too, and I was like, I don't think this is correct.
Yeah,
because there's no way that this many people spells their name the same way I spell my name. That's just not possible. That's just not it. But yeah, so make sure you follow him on all platforms under Hoot Sport Media, not .com, just Hoot Sport Media. On all platforms. The man does amazing work with the camera, which we'll get into a little bit later in the show. But I love seeing those photos pop across my screen. Sometimes I'm like looking at it, I'm like, damn, this is a really good picture. And then I like look at who posted, I'm like, oh, of course. So I just be forgetting like that you be doing cool stuff, and then I see it and I'm like, damn. And then I have to remind myself, like, my nephew does the thing, man.
Sometimes I do it.
Don't forget to follow me. You can find me on Instagram at UncleDeej12. You can find me on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. And then you'll find all my other socials there. That's honestly the best way to tell you because none of them are the same. Don't ask me why I do that. I think it's because I don't ever want a stalker. You got to put in a little bit of work to find me. You know what I'm saying? Can't make it easy on the people. Yeah, don't forget to follow and subscribe to Outside the Box, our original show at OTB Lax Pod everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the good places. You get full episodes of our podcast talking all the pro and international goodness over there on most of the time Friday mornings. And then we release this here on Tuesday, which it lives on the Outside the Box YouTube. So it's important that you go over there and subscribe at youtube.com/outside the box podcast. I think. I can't believe he lets me lead a show. This is so funny.
Stuff, it'll pop up.
I swear that things will pop up.
DM the account.
You'll see it. We'll get you all the stuff you need. This is why you're here, to make sure that things are okay. But yeah, we had a crazy week last week. But before we get into all of that goodness, I got to let you know that this episode of Outside the Box podcast is powered by friends at 47, truly the best headwear and apparel in the game. And with their vast collection of collegiate gear, they will make sure you're repping your favorite college lacrosse team all season long. So use our link in the description to shop with 47 and get free shipping on all of your orders when you join the 47 family. Just make an account. Yes, the account is free to make. and you can start earning your points on every purchase and turn those points into free gear. Again, use our link in the description to shop with 47 and get free shipping on all orders when you join the 47 family. Shout out to 47 for being a proud partner of OTB and the official headwear partner of Underground Industries. Nephew, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm exhausted. I had the longest weekend I've had in a while. My body hurts. I took a nice little 3-hour nap mid-afternoon yesterday. Woke up, realized I was missing half the Georgia Swarm Roughnecks game. So that was when you were texting me, I was like, wait, what? And I was like, oh, I forgot this was a Sunday game. So, but you know what? Got a lot done. Worked hard. Watched a bunch of not NCAA lacrosse per se, but I watched a lot of lacrosse overall. So can't complain.
Dog, I'm really upset that I told y'all about that game.
You really jinxed your team.
Because I really feel like as soon as you started watching, we went downhill. If I would have never told you the game was on, you probably wouldn't have even put it on, and we might have won. I feel honestly, though, we most likely lost that game because we played the day before. Calgary played the day before, and Georgia didn't. So,
yeah. I mean,
I think that somewhat played a factor.
Some teams have
and also Brett Dobson is insane.
Yeah.
So, we were able to get to him, and then eventually he just closed the door, and that was that.
I feel like that's kind of what they're doing now. Is the first quarter, they look really good. Like they did the same thing against Sask, and then all of a sudden they just
died.
Fall off.
Yes. It's just they're young, so getting into late game scenarios and having that experience that you need to start a run, and they just don't have it yet. It's
hey, but they got to win the day before, so it's it wasn't a total.
We did get another win. We just need to not be at the bottom of the standings at the end of the year. I just don't want Joey Spallina going to Toronto. If I'm being so honest with you, I do not want to see that. So anything but that would make me really happy.
Hey, there's some people out there that don't think Spallina is a shoo-in, depending on who gets that pick. So that could be interesting come draft time.
I know, right? But yeah, I'm doing pretty good too. I'm getting ready for my high school season. I finalized my schedule now, so I got I think 12 games. I may pick up one more. There's a team in my conference that is also not very good. But they also don't have a coach right now. So I'm waiting for them to get a coach so I can ask him to play a second game against me.
How are they playing then right now?
They're not. We're not. We don't start season for another 2 weeks. Our first practice
But they have games scheduled? Or they just don't have a schedule at all?
We have a conference schedule. I don't know what they have beyond that. We have a designed conference schedule that's set for 5 years out.
Yeah.
So those games are all already scheduled. And
so
then
that team's just getting together, just practicing on their own.
They're arguably not practicing.
Oh, that sucks.
They're arguably just sitting around waiting to see if they're going to get a coach. Some of them have probably already quit. I'm just not going to play this year.
Yeah.
So I'm one, hoping they find a coach, and two, hoping they have a team, because they're my one chance at a conference win, if I'm being honest. And I like to be very straightforward with not only myself, all of y'all out there, but also my team. I also am very honest with my team. I tell them when it's going to be a rough season. I tell them when we have a chance to be competitive. I tell them when, hey, let's just go out there and enjoy playing lacrosse today, because it's going to be a long day. Hey, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to send you out there and say, yeah, let's see what we can do and take this team. No, we don't have it. We don't have it. And that's okay. This is a learning experience for us. It's a time to get better, work on some things, have a good time, enjoy the time with ourselves, and then we can go back home.
Hey, just get your fastest attackman. Here's a strategy. I got it. Fastest attackman. You have them go win the clamp, get the ball, sprint down and score, and just rinse and repeat all game long. Jesse's probably the only one listening to this that I would even be close to play. He helps run one of the programs that reached out to me to play a game. And no, I didn't play
I'm not playing DeWitt, Jesse. Sorry, not happening this year. Not worth my time. Not worth yours either. DeWitt would just be far better than we are. Like it would be a waste of both of our times for them to come to Kalamazoo or us go all the way there to play. But yeah, my plan and my clear is to send over my fastest attackman so he can get the ball and then run over. That is my clear. I don't want to complicate these kids at all. That is my clear. I have an LSM that I think is going to be pretty fast. I want him to go over the midline. My attackman's going to go, and then he's going to go back over. That's it. That's all I need you to do. So, but yeah, it's going to be a rough season for high school ball. So I'm looking forward to it because we are young. We did pick up a lot of sophomores. We're going to pick up a couple freshmen and stuff. So it's a chance for us to just work on a lot this year, hammer in the fundamentals and start to pick up on the IQ later in the year. And then we can look on having success next year. But success on a field, attackman, I think there's one place we should start and talk about this weekend. There's a team that played 2 games this weekend, and they scored 29 and 28 in those games on Saturday and Sunday. 29-28 respectively. And they had a couple players put up some pretty big numbers. And you know what's so funny about this? I feel like they did this on purpose because I can't say their name right. So they're trying to troll me. I think it is Centenary. I think it is pronounced Centenary. I've probably been saying it wrong the entire time, but they got things cracking for themselves on Saturday. They put up 29 in a win over Warren Wilson. A lot of big points from that attack.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So we were talking pre-pod. This team has to find a tougher schedule. They need to move to D2. Something has to change. Noah Walsh, who no disrespect, apparently he's one of their star attackmen. I didn't know him before the season. In the 4 games they've played, has put up 15, 14, 9, and 20 points, respectively. Okay, his teammate, Gamble Harville, I think is how you say his name, put up 8, 14, 10, and 13, including 10 goals against, is it Brevard, I would assume, and 8 against Warren Wilson.
Yeah, it's Brevard.
And what did they give up on the weekend? 7 goals in this game, 2 in the other, I think it was? So 9 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And they scored 57.
Yeah.
So,
and they accounted for a large portion of that.
Yeah. I mean, Noah Walsh has 58 points in 4 games just by himself, which is insane.
So are we going to crown him the scoring champion already? Or do we think he slows down when conference play comes around? I'm going to find this out.
Even if he slows down, who's going to add on?
I'm going to find out what conference they play in.
Of course, NCAA stats doesn't actually upload their stats, so you can't see like who's leading. But I mean, again, so if he has 58, that's 14.5 points a game for reference.
That's insane.
So like, in order for him to get overtaken, he'd have to fall off a cliff, and everyone else would have to put up 5+ points a game for the remainder of the year to even have a shot. Which is just ridiculous.
I don't think they have a conference.
Well, I mean, that might explain some of their, schedule. They can just kind of schedule whoever.
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't think they have a conference. Wow, because like their schedule is insane. Like it's all over the place. Cornell College, Heidelberg, Spalding, Trine, Hanover, Rhodes, Colorado College. Like, and I didn't see anything that denoted conference schedule. It just says region. Overall in region. What do you mean region? That's not a thing. We play in conferences. I'm so lost. This is such new information to me. This school, is this a ghost school? Is this like the Bishop Sycamore?
I was gonna say, what was that school called?
D3 college lacrosse? Like, what is happening right now?
I totally forgot that was a thing. What a time that was, man.
Dude, that was such a crazy time.
Getting on ESPN
and they played a whole game on national television against high school kids. Like,
hey, we're not
how
saying
did
that's
this happen?
But that's what's happening.
Like, that literally seems like what's happening right now. This is so
Either
crazy.
Way, great for them,
Yeah, I mean, hey, do your thing. Some other notable results from around D3. Keene over Eastern, 13-10. Arcadia over Immaculata, 14-4. I got a homie I coach with who's out at Arcadia. So keep doing your thing, Tristan. Kenyon did take down my Bulldogs 15-8, and trust me, that 15-8 sounds a lot better than what it was. We went on a little bit of a run late in the game, and were able to crawl back and make it a little bit more respectable. But that was a rough game for the fellas. I watched. It was a tough one. Offense couldn't really get a lot going until later in the game, which subsequently led to the defense playing more defense, which, as we know in the game of lacrosse, just equals more goals being scored on you because you get tired. Other MIAA victories, Calvin over Capital 11-8, their first game in their home stadium, so that was huge for them. And Trine 15-9 over Wittenberg. Stevens beats Dickinson 9-8. St. Vincent over Westminster 13-8. Christopher Newport over Gettysburg 16-9. Salisbury over Scranton 20-3. Grove City over Ohio Wesleyan 14-13 in OT. RIT over Denison 11-7. RPI over Suwanee 12-11. Rhodes over Albion 18-8. Lake Forest over Carthage 13-11. There was a couple others I wanted to point out. Overtime, I thought. Maybe that was Sunday. There was more D3 action on Sunday as well. Suwanee beat Albion 15-9. RPI over Rhodes 18-7. Colorado College over Aurora 17-11. It had a quick D2 pop in. Do you want to start things off in the D2 round? I know you were. We talked a little bit pre-pod, and you had a couple things to be excited about.
Yeah, because the boys picked up 2 big dubs. Lees McCray, back-to-back wins after 0-3 start, including a 22-9 win on Friday over Dominican. So, huge win for the fellas. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, but Caden, is it Onagi? I would assume 13 points in that game, 7 goals. 11 shots as well. 9 of them were on goal, so 7 for 9 on goal basically is wild. But we talked about John Grant Jr.'s offense not looking great, but 22 and then 11 the next game looks pretty nice. Just saying.
Yeah, I would say that's Onagi. But yeah, I mean those are huge dubs for them after starting the season 0-3. Like that kind of helps like recenter you. Like when you get on starting your year on a losing streak sucks. As somebody who has started multiple seasons on a losing streak, it sucks. But that first win feels like more than just an icebreaker. Like it literally feels like a whole new lease on life as a team. Like you feel totally different going to your next practice. You feel totally different walking into your next game. You feel totally different going home that night and going to bed. Like everything is different after that first win. So they were not only able to pick up 1, but 2. So now they probably feel like they have a lot of momentum behind them and that, they're ready to make a run, a significant run where they're going to win multiple games in a row. Obviously, as a newfound supporter of those fellers, you would love to see that. Concordia University Irvine picks up a 21-8 win on Friday night as well, along with a Delphi over Walsh 21-5. Saturday, Lenore Ryan over Rollins 13-12 in overtime. Maryville over Thomas More 27-2. Mercy over Assumption 13-12. Florida Tech, and that was in overtime. Florida Tech over Wingate 10-9 in overtime. Lander takes down Lincoln Memorial 19-11. So Coach Rhodes once again wins. Does his thing against his old squad. It's always tough going back to play a team that you used to play for, especially as a coach. It's just a different feeling. Tampa beats Flagler 8-7. UIndy over Lake Erie 12-5. Seton Hill over Lewis 11-7. I did not see Lewis losing that game. That's interesting. As you mentioned, Lees McRae over CUI 11-9. That second game of the weekend for them. Adelphi picks up another victory, 18-7 over Frostburg State. That's really kind of all we got popping for men's D2. Shall we where shall we start in the Division 1 lands, nephew?
Let's just go to Syracuse, since that was kind of the big premier matchup.
Yeah, I guess I'm a fool to have thought about starting anywhere else. Friday night, 1 versus 2. 2 comes out victorious, 11-9. Some people would argue that that score is closer than this game actually appeared. I don't know if you got a chance to watch this game at all. I did. Seeing the box score, what is your opinion on this game?
I mean, it looks like it was at least a decent game overall. I saw some photos from it. It looked like Joey had a good fun day. Obviously, 4 goals is great as usual. Trying to pull everything up here. I mean, 12 for 24 face-offs, pretty even there. Pull up the team stats as well. Kind of just seems like Maryland just got outworked on the hustle plays. Seemed like they turned the ball over a decent amount. Other than that, it seems pretty even. Face-off wise, saves are pretty even. Shots on goal were close. Overall shots were pretty similar. But again, like Maryland had 2 quarters with only 2 goals, and they had a third with 1 goal. So, it almost cancels out that third quarter rather, with the 4 goals, because Syracuse had 4 in the first and then another 3 and a 3. And then by the time they got to the fourth, it was like they just needed 1. So definitely interesting, especially because I know Maryland was kind of preseason ranked first. So I don't think anyone assumed that like Syracuse couldn't beat them, but definitely one of those like, yikes,
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, watching the game, it never felt like Maryland had control of the game at all. It never felt like they had the momentum of that game. It always felt like it was in Syracuse's hands. Joey was phenomenal. I mean, his 4 goals were great. Every single one of them were scored differently. I think that's one of the joys of watching Joey Spallina is he can create so much for himself and for others in so many different ways. But the turnovers absolutely killed Maryland. And then they gave, in my opinion, one too many man up opportunities to Syracuse. Like, even if a team doesn't score off man up, that is time on the clock that is gone that you didn't have the ball. Time on the clock that is gone that you didn't have your entire team on the field. And time on the clock that they're just sitting in momentum. Like that, penalties are killers to your team, whether you're winning or losing. Like that's just time away from you and what you're trying to do to succeed. And I think Maryland took some ill-advised penalties that they really could have gone without. That could have made this game a little bit closer for them. But it really was the turnovers and the few mental mistakes that cost them this game. Like you said, everything else was sort of even, but they never, in my opinion, held the momentum in this game to have been able to really, I say, win the game. Like you would have needed a lot of, I guess they would have needed a really big play to then swing that momentum their way. But it just felt like Hughes was very comfortable inside the dome, which did have an attendance of over 10,000 people. So it was, in fact, a sellout, and it was what people expected it to be for a 1v2 matchup, even in February. Another big matchup from the weekend as we tailor into Saturday before we go back and do a recap of some of the notable scores out there. Penn State, they took their first loss not too long ago, and they immediately bounced back the next week, take down Princeton 14-7. And if you take a look at the box score, it wasn't close. The 13-7 makes it look a lot closer than what this game actually was. You got a late run from Princeton to draw them a little bit closer, but prior to that run in the fourth quarter, they were losing this game. I believe it was 13-4. And then I think they crawled back in, but I'm going to check that just to be sure as I pull up the stats here.
I mean, realistically, they didn't even do anything really outside of like they just matched Penn State the rest of the way because Penn State was up 7-1 after the first, which is just preposterous. But
it was the other way around. Penn State was up 10-4 going into the fourth. And then Princeton scored 3 goals in a row to start the fourth quarter. They were down 10-7, and then Penn State put it away with 3 goals over a stretch of 5 minutes. So, but yeah, they started starting the game 7-1 that's not it for anybody. It's very hard to win a game when you go down 7-1. I mean, props for Princeton just staying in it and, being able to pull out 6 more goals throughout the game and kind of make that look a little more competitive than it was. But this made it almost look like Penn State got their groove back. I don't think that's the case. I think they ran into a Princeton team that was a little overrated and a team that just wasn't ready to have played a team that had already played 3 games. Like that's tough to walk into, but maybe Princeton learns from this and they also have a bounce back moment. But I was pretty shocked to have seen that box score because I didn't get a chance to watch this game. Maybe I'll go back and watch it sometime this week. But I didn't get a chance to actively watch this game while it was on, and that box score kind of just shocked me.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just got a text message that was talking about Princeton, and I was like, "What's going on with Princeton?" I googled the score or whatever, and it was like 5-1 or something like that in the first. And I was like, "Ooh." So I don't know
Yikes.
what went on in that first quarter, but good on Penn State, for bouncing back and, like you said, overrated or not, beating the number 3 ranked team is huge. And I mean, Princeton just has to get more from their stars, I think, honestly. I mean, Kabiri had 3 points, but outside of that, everyone else was kind of around that 2 point range. Otherwise, 1 point. And not that this was like an abundance of scoring by Penn State either, but you look at, a lot of their guys had 3 points, which is kind of the difference maker. And when their goalie's giving up 7 goals, making 11 saves, and yours is only making 10 saves while giving up 13, that's going to be kind of tough to win many games, unfortunately. But I'm not worried about Princeton overall. It's a bump in the road, but I do kind of wonder if this is like a sort of look in the mirror type of situation where they're like, hey, this is a 6-goal loss against a team that I think people felt like was already kind of overrated in Penn State. Doesn't look very good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll be interested to keep track on both of those over the next couple of weeks, but kind of in that same vein of having a bad start to a game, what is arguably the best game of the weekend, many people didn't get to see. Lehigh and Michigan played on BTN Plus, which is why basically nobody saw it. Hey, which I'm going to put this out there right now. I don't know what the price is for BTN Plus. I think it's $10. I'm willing to go half with anyone out there. I feel like $5 is much more affordable and worth it for the quality that you get with Big Ten Plus. And I'd be willing to go half with anybody so that I could have the viewing pleasure of watching my favorite lacrosse team in the country. But, I don't really get a chance to do that because they like to play games on BTN Plus early in the year, which I get because basketball reigns supreme, which, excuse me, the Michigan Wolverines are the number 1 team in the country in the AP poll for men's basketball. And the women's basketball just beat Michigan State by 21 on the road. That's the largest victory in that rivalry in quite some time. So I'm feeling really good about Michigan basketball. Detroit Pistons first in the East. So, yeah, not complaining about the basketball being played over on Fox and where, more lacrosse could be played. But BTN Plus sucks. But nonetheless, I would love to have seen this game. It ended up being one of the best games of the weekend. It just started the wrong way for Michigan and ended the wrong way for Michigan. Michigan started this game down 5-0. Then Nick Rude finally cashes in. By the end of the second quarter, Michigan's able to get it to 7-5 at halftime. And then they come striking back. All of a sudden, they're down 1. Then they're down 2. They're down 1 again. Then it's a tie game. Then they're down 1. Then it's a tie game. Then they're up 1. And then they let them tie it. Then they let them go up 1. And then Michigan ties it. Then Michigan's up 1. Then they tie it. Then Michigan's up 1. Then they tie it. And then they cash in with 4.5 minutes left, and you don't get any other scoring action for the rest of this game. The last 4.5 minutes of this game was one of the best, I would have to imagine, was one of the best defensive stands we've seen. Granted, nobody saw any of it, but I'm sure it was amazing. Goalies had to have stood on their heads. There had to have been some kind of action just based off of what we saw in the box score, what I saw off tweets being sent, because that's one thing I do like about Michigan's social. Their manager just literally just clips the BTN Plus stream and drops those clips for the highlights when they're playing over there. So I'm totally cool with that because I get to see how goals and stuff are being scored, but I would love to watch more of that game. But now that we've gotten through my rant of Michigan losing, do we want to talk about Georgetown finally playing?
Sure.
They pick up a victory, 12-9, over unranked Penn, who also was yet to have played this season, if I'm correct on that. I believe so. No. Yes. That was their first game of the year as well. What stood out to you in this one?
Again, didn't watch any games this weekend. I was quite busy. So give me a sec. Looking through the box score.
Take your time. There's no need to
This is again
rush.
a game that just looks so even. Statistically speaking. Oh my goodness. I mean, literally everything is like basically the same. And you can't sort by points on here either because NCAA won't give it to us for some reason. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's I don't like it.
Saves, 12 goals against for Penn, 11 saves for Anderson Moore with Georgetown.
They don't even have
nothing.
They don't even have a scoring breakdown for this game on
I know.
NCAA. But I'll tell you, this game was as even as you think it was.
All right.
And I don't know if that says more about Penn or about Georgetown.
Because it was both their first games of the year, right? So
I want to give them that first game jitter, all of that, but like I'm starting to think Georgetown was running. They played like that. Maybe they didn't want to play them other teams. Unranked Penn, they hung with them all day. There was no real separation for Georgetown in this game, who's ranked 5th in the country. Not saying that Penn's a slouch, but they've lost considerable talent over the last couple of years. They've been very much in like this right, not even out. They're not even right outside the bubble. They've been clearly outside the bubble the last couple of years, especially since they lost Sam Hanley. Like, this team hasn't been producing to the level that we're used to seeing a Penn team play. So why is 5th ranked Georgetown hanging around with them? Like I said, it's as even as you thought it was. They just happened to grab momentum early in the game, take advantage of it, and then they were able to hold off. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I didn't feel confident in that game whatsoever for either. Well, I felt more confident for Penn than I did Georgetown.
That's fair. I mean, they did lose Aiden Carroll in the offseason, and so I don't know. I don't know if they're actually ducking the first couple weeks. It's kind of fun to think about, though. After this game, but regardless, a 3-goal win is like, it's one of those things. It's just like, you'll take it. You know, you could always. They could have started off the year with a loss, and then it would have looked really bad with them not playing the first couple games, and then a loss. That would have been awful. So
that would have been. Hey, I really would have said they were ducking. Like now, I'm thinking they're ducking.
Now
it kind of looks like they might have been, but if they lost, I'd be like, oh yeah, they definitely were ducking.
Yeah. If they played bad another time, then
we could have that conversation for sure. Jacksonville won the Battle of the Dolphins. Did you see them take home the Fins trophy?
Dolphins, goodness gracious, what?
They played Lemoyne this weekend, so it was the Fins versus the Fins, and
that's hilarious.
Jacksonville absolutely throttled them. They wanted them to know that there's only room in the ocean for one set of dolphins, and it is not the ones from Lemoyne.
Yeah, 20-2. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. It was not close at all.
8-zip after one.
Mm-hmm.
3-zip in the second.
Lemoyne did not score until 4:22 remaining in the third period with an unassisted goal from Kai Archer to make it 14-1. That has very much and Chris Paul cuts the lead to 38 energy.
Yep.
Oh my God. They probably sellied hard as hell too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been there and we've sellied hard for a goal like that. Jacksonville put up 3 more before they scored again. Another unassisted from Connor Vaughn. So it sounds like they really couldn't move the ball around like at all. and Jacksonville kind of just dominated that game, finally getting a win for them on the scoreboard, which is huge. They needed that after 2 tough losses. I think they're like we talked about, a team to worry about later in the year because they just dominated a team 20-2, and they lost to 2 ranked teams that are playing well at the moment, in North Carolina and Rutgers, by a score by 1 goal. And one of those games went to overtime. You can't ask for a better output. That's what you're looking for every single time. But probably the game of the day on Saturday, which, UMass, Lowell, and Mercyhurst went to double overtime. Lowell wins it 14-13. But no, that's not the one we want to talk about for real. It's the Battle of Virginia. The Battle of Virginia, and it belongs to the same team that won the battle last year. The Richmond Spiders are 2-0 on the season after taking down Virginia. (18-12). They got a huge game from Aiden O'Neill. He puts up 5-1. Joe Sheridan puts up 4-1. Daniel Picart puts up 3-1. Gavin Creo puts up 2-1, along with Jake Riccardi, who also had 2-1. You got Charlie Packard to give an extra goal, along with Jake Pilling as well. So a lot of spread out action there, but a great game from the guys that you expect to give you lots of points in your starting attack and first line midfield. When it comes from Richmond, but maybe we need to kind of have a talk about Virginia. What are your opinions after seeing the box score? Before I talk a little bit more, because I did see a portion of this game.
Yeah, I mean, the box score looks good. They got contributions from the guys they're supposed to get contributions from. Also, this is coming off of a game where they put up 19 goals against Colgate. I think it was last week. So I think Richmond's just probably better than most people gave them credit for, honestly, to start the year. Which, not that they were like doubted per se, but just, it is what it is. To me, it looks more so just like they just need to tighten up some things defensively, especially because this is back-to-back weeks now that they've given up 14 plus, and giving up 18. Even if Richmond's as good as we think they can be right now, you can't be giving up 18 goals. And realistically, it was those middle 2 periods that really sunk Virginia. Giving up 5 and then 6 back-to-back. And honestly, Richmond got better offensively as the game went on up until that 4th quarter. And again, it's one of those games where by that point it's out of reach. And like that type of stuff just can't happen. Again, great goalie play from Richmond with 18 saves is wild. They won the turnover battle. The faceoffs matter crowd probably is, shaking their fist at the clouds right now, because another game where the team that won the faceoff battle lost the game pretty handily, but
counterpoint, if your teammates are just going to throw the ball away or
absolutely
or shoot a shot that's going to get saved, that's not your fault. You did your job.
That's true.
And the faceoff does still matter because they had all those opportunities and they squandered them. So let's talk more about offenses ruining the faceoff.
Hey, you know how I feel about this.
Facts. I just
like
wanted to.
face-offs.
I
think if you win faceoffs, generally you should win games.
I was throwing that out there for the people who maybe are on the opposite side of how we think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Virginia had momentum of this game, and they ran with it. Plain and simple. That's the best way to explain how this game worked or how this game went. It was back and forth to start, and then, like you said, the second and third periods were Richmond periods. And they took them and they dominated them in ground balls. They dominated them in turnovers. They took more shots. They scored more goals. They had all the energy. The benches were going crazy. Like, that is what you need in order to beat a team like Virginia, who is still really good. But what I'm concerned about for Virginia is you are playing in the ACC. You're playing in the ACC. So you have to play Duke. You have to play North Carolina. You have to play Syracuse. You have to play Notre Dame. Notre Dame is probably the worst offense you're going to play. And they're not that bad. They put up 16 this weekend. So if you're struggling against a team like Colgate, who, by the way, won their game this weekend 7-6 over Hobart, and you let them drop 14, then the very next game you give up 18. What, like, come on. What are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to make it very hard for you to have success later on in the year if that's how your defense is already playing. You know, looking at some of the games they have coming up this year, they have to play Hopkins. Hopkins' offense is the best part of their team. They're going to play Maryland on the road. Hello, Maryland just went toe-to-toe with Syracuse. They're going to play Utah. Utah's offense is the best part of their team. And then they get into that ACC play we were talking about. If you ask me, that's a tough road for a team that's going to have a struggling defense.
Yeah, I mean, what just happened? Someone played the donkey song from Shrek where he's like, "I'm all alone." Oh! All right. Just kidding. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, it made me refresh, so we all good. We can come back in. Where were you at?
It's still going.
Yeah, I know, but that was for post, so we can.
Oh,
yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So where were we at? We were just talking.
You said they need to have a better defense because
Yes.
their schedule's kind of tough the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm. How do you? I mean, pretty much. You know, I ran through some of those teams that they got to play. Like, I mean, is that the sentiment? Do you agree, or do you think like maybe this is early season stuff that they're going to be able to shake cobwebs off, or are these alarm bells a little too early, or are these significant worries?
I think they can turn into significant worries, but I'm one that kind of like pumps the brakes early just because like there's so much time left that you can turn it around. I'm also not, though, going to ignore that it's 2 games in a row where this has occurred. And again, they're not giving up 20 goals a game. Like, I reckon, like, there are teams out there literally right now scoring 28, 27 points in D3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're doing that, but, like, it's just like the Desert Dogs in the NLL. Just, it doesn't matter how good your offense is when your defense just kind of gives up everything. And, you know, like you're saying, especially when you get into conference play, that where teams know you, they know what type of program and things you like to run. It doesn't really matter who's in the offense at that point or defense. Like, it's the same thing every year. You know, you got to get stops. And
exactly.
If they, you know, I say it every week, but if they do it a third time, a fourth time, a fifth, it's like, okay, this is who they are. You're going to have to put up 20 goals a game to win.
I say I'm looking at it kind of like a heat check in basketball. You know?
Yeah.
The first one, okay. He made one. The second one, okay. He made another. The third one, whoa. Might want to put a hand up. Bro's hot today. and that's exactly how I look at like a loss like this one for Virginia. You know, yeah, they won against Colgate, which gave up 14 against a sketchy offense. All right. You're playing in a tough competitive game and you gave up 18 to a good offense. Buddy, Are you all right over there? So now the third one, I'm looking like, you do it a third time, I'm going to think this is who you are.
Yep.
And then we have to have a conversation about that.
And then at that point, they have to do the opposite.
And prove that they're not.
For me to be like, all right, maybe they're not.
Exactly.
And the problem is that these teams that do this usually don't do that. Like, they don't really bounce back. Usually what will happen is they'll have one game where it's like, oh, wait, maybe if they can just do this again, they could. But then that never ends up happening. And, so, I mean, I still think they'll be a good team overall. It's just going to be just kind of some shootouts, at least. That's the way it's looking early season after 2 games.
Yeah, and then looking at the rest of the weekend, North Carolina took care of High Point 20-9. Army beat Yale 12-6. Mercy over Hampton 20-8, which that game was 9-6 at halftime. Hampton looked like they might have been able to get it done, and then some halftime adjustments from Mercy. They blank Hampton in the third quarter, 3-0, and then they put up an 8 spot in the fourth to really run away with that one. But it was almost there. It's almost there. Brown takes down Fairfield, who has looked like one of those mid-major surprises that may be on the market. But Brown beats them 10-8 in their first game of the year. Rutgers picks up another dub over Stony Brook, 14-11. Townsend over Navy, 12-8. St. Joe's takes down Nova after starting up that game 8-1, 11-9. So they were able to hang on there. John Hopkins over Loyola, 13-7 in a game that they never really looked concerned in. Ohio State over Air Force, 14-9. I almost forgot to talk about this. Cornell and Albany, 11-10. And it came down to Silas Richmond at the end getting a good shot opportunity and a great save from Cornell's goalie. So they were able to escape an 11-10 victory. But in my opinion, this screams Albany may be a contender. We know Cornell lost some talent from that championship team, but not a ton. They're still ranked 4th in the country. And Albany took them right to the very end of the game and almost sent this game into overtime, where absolutely anything could have happened. Once again, I don't know if this says more about Cornell or about Albany, but at the same time, this has the same kind of energy that Penn-Georgetown game does, where it was both of their first games. So how much weight can we really hold into this?
Well, I'll get a first-hand look at this team at Cornell this week when they come to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can get kind of a mini answer end of the weekend. But regardless, good for Albany. I mean, I saw the shot that they had at the end of the game, and I mean, you can't really ask for a much better look in that situation. Sometimes that falls, sometimes it doesn't. If they were to play this game again, maybe it goes to overtime, maybe they win this game. So I think that was their first game too, right?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't hate what you're saying about them potentially being a contender.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think many people would necessarily agree.
I think they have to make it out of their conference first, which is going to be a little tough.
Yeah.
And it has been tough for them the last couple of years, but if they make it out of there, then we got to have that conversation once they're in the tournament for sure. Denver outlasts Utah 8-7 on the road. That ended up being a late game for them. They started down 3-1, bounced back, and were able to be down just 3-4 at halftime. And then they went blow for blow in the third quarter, 3 apiece, before locking things down in the fourth quarter, only putting up a 2 spot, which is interesting to see such a low-scoring game from these two teams who had great offensive outputs in some of their earlier games this season. But it ended with an 8-7 dub for Utah. Anything pop out at you in the box score?
If I can figure out how to pull it up.
Okay, while you're doing that, Notre Dame.
Here we go.
Okay, he's got it.
Sorry, I
moves
just had
quick.
to expand my screen. The biggest thing that I saw was Utah had 50 shots and Denver had 28. I don't know what happened there. Why there was such a big disparity. On top of that led to Grayson Manning having like I'm not going to say the game of his life because we saw what he did overseas in the summer and all that stuff, but 20 saves. Utah only had to make 9. Again, Denver apparently was just ultra sloppy in this game with 18 turnovers. Again, they have Cornell coming this week. You can't do that against a team like Cornell. And then you got big dogs coming later in the year. If this is what they're going to do, this is not acceptable. Again, after I watched the Utah game against Duke 2 weeks ago now, or last week, and I felt like they had some promise for sure. Like if they were just to play a team that maybe wasn't quite as good as Duke, they'd look better. And this is like a prime example, I think. But Denver escapes with the win. Good for the boys, but it also doesn't feel great when it's as sloppy as it was and as close as it had to be, because I don't think that Utah is as good of a team as Denver is, and the fact that it took literally everything, including one final shot, just like we saw in the Albany game, to get saved by Grayson Manning doesn't feel great. But a win is a win, 3-0, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Delaware takes down St. John's 12-11. They got blanked in the second quarter 3-0, but if you start a game 8-3, you can afford to blank in a quarter and still come out victorious. Notre Dame takes down Marquette 16-11. No real struggles from them there. Vermont over Duke 22-6. North Carolina over Ionia 23-7. Boston University takes down Dartmouth 13-5. They blinked Dartmouth for the whole first half. This game was 7-0 at halftime. And then they extended their lead to 12-4 after the third quarter, and then they each put in one more in the final frame. So no real concerns there from them. And then Richmond took care of business earlier today as we record this on Monday against a previously undefeated Mercer Bears team. This game started off very, 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 very slow. Very slow. Richmond after 1 was up 3-2. And then after 2 was up 5-4. And then the second half, they picked it up, started to play a little more Richmond lacrosse and really impose themselves in the defensive end, which led to transition and more offensive opportunities. 4-1 in the third, then 6-0 in the fourth to win 15-5. So Richmond, the number 6 team in the country at the moment, looking to be every part of the reason why they should be the 6th seed. I think they're going to win the A-10 with no questions at this point. I think maybe the week before conference play really gets started with everybody, we'll talk about kind of who we expect to win each conference and maybe why. But as of right now, Richmond is a very early A-10 championship contender.
I don't disagree.
Flipping things over to the women's side, as we did have a large week last week for women's. Huge slate going down.
Again, can we get this on one website, please?
Please. I know you guys are listening. But going back to Friday, looking at some of these scores, I mean, hey, the weekend started off good for those people who like to root for teams that say go blue. Because 19-ranked Michigan took down 4th-ranked Florida 12-10 in what was actually a really exciting game. I did catch parts of this game, not the entirety of it, because Fridays are always a wild day for me at the office. Excuse me. So I wasn't able to catch all of it, but 4-4 after 1, and then 9-6. Michigan put up a 5 spot, 5-2. Michigan won that second quarter, and then from there it was just about deadlock even. Florida put up a 2-1 spot in the third quarter, and then Michigan tied things back up 2-2 in the fourth. Totals out to 12-10. Michigan wins, which is the best way to start the day. Another very good game on the weekend, North Carolina over Syracuse 13-9. Notre Dame took down Boston College 12-9. Boston College starts 0-2. I'm not going to say it's a bad 0-2. When you play number 2 Northwestern and you lose in overtime, and then you play number 16 Notre Dame, who is undefeated on the season already, and you lose by 3. The only thing I can say that doesn't look good is that you got blanked in the fourth quarter of this game against Notre Dame. You lost that 6-0. This game could look completely different if you put up even a couple goals. Tie game, you go to overtime, maybe you sting one more and you win it. Things are very, very different if they're able to score. Anything else pop out at you from the D1 weekend? I really only went through Friday night. I'm sure there's some stuff Saturday and Sunday that happened.
Yeah, there's a fairly large slate on Saturday. Maryland beat Virginia 17-9. You scroll down here.
Oh my God, Stanford Clemson really showed up in that 5-8 matchup. Ended up being a 10-9 victory for Stanford. Clemson was up. Clemson was up 3-2 after 1, and then it was tied, all knotted at 5 after at halftime. The one difference is this 3-2 quarter in the third quarter for Stanford. They ended up tying 2-2 in the fourth, and that one extra goal gave Stanford the victory at the end of the day. I'm going to have to watch both of those teams play this year. 17-9, Maryland over Virginia was no question there. Wow. Virginia had a tough weekend to play lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
Anything on Sunday? Notre Dame.
Hopkins beat Duke 14-13.
Yeah. And Notre Dame went 2 for 2 on the weekend. Took down number 23 Harvard 10-7 as well. They're up to 4-0 on the year. I would imagine the next rankings they're going to bump up. Michigan also went 2-0 on the weekend. Took down South Florida on Sunday 16-10. Like you said, Hopkins over Duke 14-11. That game went, or 14-13. That game went to double overtime. I'm going to see if I can pull up that score on the NCAA website and look at that scoring breakdown.
Also, Northwestern responded after their loss last week, 25-2 over Central Michigan.
Yeah, that is in fact a way to respond. I had not mentioned that yet, but that is how you respond. That is how you say, hey, so we didn't quite show up last game, so we're going to show up this time. Taking a look at this John Hopkins Duke women's game. Ava Biancardi had the first 2 for Duke. For Smith bounces back for Hopkins. Duke pours in 2 more. Bro, what? Please pull up the scoring breakdown.
Of which game?
The Duke Hopkins women's game on NCAA.
All right, here we go.
You're going to be just as confused.
0-0-0-0-0-0.
No. Go to the scoring tab.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
So, right, you see, it's 1-2. It's 2-0 Duke. Then they score. It's 1-2. Duke scores again, and all of a sudden it's 3-3. Duke scores again, and all of a sudden it's 4-4. And then Hopkins scores, and they're up 5-4. And then Hopkins scores. They're up 6-5. Then they're up 7-5. Then they're up 8-5.
Are we sure they won this
Then they're up 9-5. Then they're up 10-5. And it's like, when did Duke score that 5th point? Because I don't see it on here. I see Ava popping back for their 6th goal.
All right, so it was after 1, it was 4-4.
Yes.
After 2, it was 5-5.
That's
in the third quarter. Johns Hopkins scored 8 goals to Duke's 2.
That is accurate.
And in the fourth, Duke scored 6 goals.
I have 4 goals on here.
And then nothing in overtime, and then obviously 1-0 Hopkins in double OT.
That's what ESPN has.
So it looks like Duke scored the first 2, Hopkins scored the next 3, And then they flip-flopped Duke, Hopkins, Duke. That's the first. The second was Hopkins, Duke, Hopkins 5 in a row. That's actually going into the third as well. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. That's
just,
again, NCAA, please fix your website.
Please, because that's a mess. Shouldn't have to do all of that to figure out how a game broke down and what happened in it. That's insane. But, I mean, it also sounded like it was an insane game to experience. Denver women's get another victory. They start 2-0 over Arizona State. They win that game 14-7. Unranked USC upsets 25th ranked Brown 9-8. A lot of low scoring games this weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean, since we have gotten through all of that, it's time to talk about what's coming up next week. Start quickly in the D3 ranks. Kalamazoo and Elmhurst will play on Wednesday. Hate Kalamazoo. Not the city, just that team, or that school, excuse me. Ohio Northern and Albion. Go Coach Nat. Hope the Polar Bears take down Albion. Man,
They're called the Polar Bears?
Albion is Ohio Northern are the Polar Bears, yes.
Wow.
Grove City and Hope on Friday night. I also hate Hope. Hope is also in the MIAA where Adrian plays. Hate him. Arcadia and Eastern on Saturday now is where we are. MSOE and Adrian, Grove City and Calvin. Worcester and Kalamazoo, Roanoke and Christopher Newport, Kenyon and Mount Union, Denison and Gettysburg. Don't be clicking on stuff. Oh my. Sorry, guys. Backtrack. This is all women's. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. I guess we'll start D1 women's for this week. Oh, that's so funny. I am so hilarious.
I didn't even have it pulled up, so I was just like, yeah, this is a good slate right here. Sounds great.
That is so funny. 12th ranked Florida and Loyola, Maryland on Tuesday. That's the big marquee one. That game's at noon. No idea where it's going to be played, but it is at noon. Wednesday, Pittsburgh and Penn State play on Big Ten Plus at 5 p.m. 20 ranked Pittsburgh, 21st ranked Penn State. Number 2, Maryland will take on Georgetown, 7 p.m. ESPN Plus on Tuesday as well. Or excuse me, that's Wednesday. California and Oregon on Big Ten Plus. That's still such a wild game to hear on Big Ten Plus. That's 3 p.m. on Thursday. Friday, things pick up a little bit more. ACC Extra, 1:30 p.m. Ohio State, North Carolina. Number 2, Maryland will take on St. Joe's, ESPN Plus at 2 p.m. Syracuse, 13th ranked, taking on number 3, Stanford, ACC Extra, 8:30 p.m. And then Northwestern back in action against Marquette on Big Ten Plus at 8 p.m. on Friday. Saturday, Princeton and Loyola, ESPN Plus at 12. Princeton 6, Loyola 19. Florida, 12th ranked, obviously. And number 7, Clemson after a loss late last weekend. 1 p.m. on Saturday. Duke and Richmond, 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 10th ranked Michigan and 8th ranked Boston College, 3 p.m. Doesn't give me a place to watch this game, and I really hope there's a place to watch that game. And I really hope it's not BTN Plus. ESPN Plus, 3:30 p.m. 9th ranked Hopkins versus 16th ranked Pennsylvania. And Nothing super notable. Or USC and Stanford, 4 p.m. ACC Extra on Sunday. And that is all for the women's slate in the D1 ranks. We'll pop over to men's. Starting the D1 ranks as well. UAlbany has a great chance to make a statement against Penn. I guess we'll see really how good Penn is. You know, we are along the lines that we think UAlbany is going to be a pretty solid team. That'll be we'll be able to compete and maybe make a run later in the year. If Penn is at that level, you know, with Georgetown and other teams, then UAlbany will be a game for them to show that. So I think that Tuesday night matchup should be a good one. Friday night, we get 13th ranked Johns Hopkins on the road at North Carolina, 5 p.m. on an ACC network. Townsend takes on St. Joe's, who picked up a big victory over the weekend. That's 5 p.m. ESPN Plus on Friday. Saturday, Lehigh at Richmond, ESPN Plus on at noon. Army at Michigan, ESPN Plus at noon. At Jacksonville at Duke, ACC Extra at noon. Penn State at Navy, ESPN Plus at noon. Big Ten Plus, Princeton at Maryland, 12 versus 2 at noon. Number 1, Syracuse versus number 14, Harvard, ESPN Plus at 1 p.m. Cornell versus Denver, as you mentioned, 2 p.m. start. Nowhere for us to watch that game, so most likely on, I think, Flow Sports is what Denver uses.
I think, actually, one of the last times they did, though, what's the M1?
Magnitude? No. I thought they were on maybe Altitude Sports. I forgot.
They're probably also on Altitude Sports. Yeah. Mimico? Was it Mimico Sports?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
Which way? It's on one of those weird ones, probably.
Yeah. And then Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Number 4 Georgetown and number 7 Notre Dame. ACC Extra, 11:30 a.m. for that one. So that's super early for you over there. And yeah, that's it for the D1 ranks. Going to look at D2 real quick, see if we have anything notable coming up for this upcoming week. Adelphi and St. Thomas Aquinas on Wednesday. Lander and Emmanuel, Georgia. Davenport at Lewis. Davenport's arguably one of the worst teams in the country. Lees McRae and Lenore Ryan. Whoa. Big game. Big game. Lenore Ryan, a team that's been national champions, has been in that game a couple times recently. Your boys are on a heater. 2 in a row.
Time to get to 500.
Hey, great chance to get to 500. Great chance to pick up a huge victory over a team that's been surging recently. So that should be a circled game for those who are D2 lovers. Frostburg State and Walsh. Chestnut Hill and Seton Hill playing for King of the Hill. And that is all for D2. Going to pop over to D3 real quick. Nothing Tuesday, Wednesday. Ohio Northern at Adrian on Wednesday. Let's go. I'm going to definitely send a text over to Coach Nat. Good luck to you, Coach Nat. But GDTBAB. It's a great day to be a Bulldog. Always a great day to be a Bulldog. Go Bulldogs, baby. Let's go. I can't wait to watch that one. Actually, let me see what time that game is. schedule. Now, why would you give me the 2025 schedule?
I know every time I Google something, it brings up the 2025 schedule.
So dumb. That game is at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, so I definitely will be tuned into Adrian College TV on YouTube to take that game in. Anybody else who wants to watch can also look up Adrian College TV on YouTube and watch themselves. Shameless plug for my peoples. Baldwin Wallace and Kenyon, Washington Lee and Christopher Newport, Haverford and Arcadia, Muhlenberg and Scranton, Cortland and RPI, Wabash at Kalamazoo, Alma at Heidelberg. The boys are in action this weekend. Or that's just Wednesday. Keene plays Bates on Friday. Concordia, Wisconsin at Kalamazoo on Saturday. Eastern at Muhlenberg. St. John Fisher at Ithaca. St. Vincent at Immaculata. I think that's how you say that.
It looks right to me.
Adrian at Worcester. Yersinia at Oberlin. Arcadia at Susquehanna. Man, I really shouldn't say some of these college names. Springfield at Stevens. Carroll at Trine. Scranton at Dickinson. Capital at Kenyon. Hope at Wabash. Otterbein at Albion. Stevenson at Christopher Newport. Baldwin Wallace at John Carroll. Gettysburg at Salisbury. Ohio Northern at Washington and Lee. What a weekend. This is insanity.
Is there two different cemeteries?
No, not that I know
of. Yeah, there is.
Oh, there's a university and then there's a college.
Oh, wait.
And one's in Louisiana, one's somewhere.
Centenary.
RPI, Elmhurst and Denison, Grove City and RIT. North Central and Benedictine. It's a loaded slate. My Jesus. Saturday is going to be insane for D3.
Mm-hmm.
Heidelberg at Trine on Sunday. Lawrence at Alma. Cortland at St. Lawrence. That should be a really good game. Dubuque at Carthage. Shout out to my boy TJ, who I used to coach with. He's now coaching, the head coach over at Dubuque. So good luck to you, TJ. Keep doing your thing over there. Congratulations. It's great to see you doing the thing that you've wanted to do for a long time. And then that wraps things up for that slate. So you know what time it is. Time for us to talk about our homies over at Riverside. Our Riverside games of the week are powered by, you guessed it, Riverside. We made the switch to Riverside a couple months ago. As a company, it has changed our entire productivity level on its head. From enhanced audio quality and episodes, easy to use editing tools, including a built-in editing bay for all of our shows in the network, and the fastest way to cut clips, segments, and funny moments for all of our shows. Plus, it is an absolute bargain compared to the competitors. Use our link in the description to get your podcast, webinars, or video projects looking and sounding pristine with Riverside. Nephew, what's your Riverside game of the week?
Georgetown, Notre Dame.
Ooh.
On Sunday.
Okay. Talk to me about why.
Because Georgetown has, I don't want to say they have questions, but like we talked about how they played against Penn. How do they respond against a team like Notre Dame? And I think Notre Dame was, a 5-goal win this past weekend over Marquette. I just think that's a fun matchup. I think it'll tell us a lot kind of about both teams compared to some of these other games. I think some of these other games, even with the big schools, they kind of come off as blowouts on paper compared to previous weeks. Maybe I'm wrong, but there are some other good ones, as always. But I'm going to take Georgetown and Notre Dame.
Well, first off, obviously, I have my eyes on that Adrian game against Ohio Northern. That's one that I'll be super locked in for. It's a little banter between me and Coach Nat um, that I like to have fun with. So I'll definitely be having my eyes on that. But what is not my Riverside game of the week, but one I think everybody should be watching is that 5 p.m. Friday night ACC Network game between Johns Hopkins and North Carolina. I think it's a great opportunity for us to see which one of them is frauds and which one of them is for real. I don't think there's space for both of them to be good again. And one of them is benefiting early from a not so good schedule, and the other one is probably legitimately back. And I think we're going to find that out come Friday night. And I'm leaning toward the team that's ranked third in the country based off what I've seen from them and who they've played against Hopkins. But I'm also a little biased against Hopkins as a Michigan fan, so take that with a grain of salt. But my true game of the week this weekend is that matchup on Saturday for the Michigan's women's lacrosse team. Taking on Boston College on the road. That's going to be a huge game and will be a game that I will 100% be watching if I have the opportunity to. I really hope there's a way for me to watch that game. But yeah, that's the one that I think that if you have a way to watch it, please tune in and watch it because I think it's going to be very exciting. Michigan women's team has been off to a tear. They've been really exciting on the offensive end. They're playing very aggressive defense, and it's working out for them. Boston College on a slump early, but they may be looking at this as an opportunity to not only get back in the groove, but also grab a top 10 win in the process. Phenomenal game, in my opinion. With that being said, that gets us through another week here on the OTB College Show, letting you know everything that's happening at that college and university level in the lacrosse world. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the pod everywhere at the Underground Industries on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all those places. And on Twitter, it is at the U Industries. The U Industries on Twitter. Don't forget to follow Outside the Box, where you get full episodes of this podcast and you get full episodes of our streamlined based podcast Outside the Box, covering the professional and international ranks for the lacrosse world at OTB on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. And look up Outside the Box podcast on YouTube so you can subscribe there as well. Get all those full episodes, exclusive interviews, and extra content. Don't forget, follow my nephew across from me on all platforms at Hoots Sport Media. Hoots Sport Media on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Then there's me. You can find me at Uncle Deej 12 on Instagram. You can find me at SCS_NextGreat on Twitter. Those two places will lead you to the rest of my socials because it's too much to share all at once. That's another week. We'll get back with you all next week talking more of this college thing. But for now, we are out. Peace.
Peace.
I do it every time.